Floyd! Floyd! I'll knock you out! He's sick, look at him.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news. Ow!
Okay, we'll start with this. A registered postponement. According to Coliseo Promotions, Camila, the Magnifica Zamarano, will have a new rival and a new date for her world title defense. Coliseum Promotions and Zen for Boxing informed the general public and boxing fans that for reasons related to the visa process of the foreign fighter, the boxing gala originally scheduled for Saturday, October 18th, has been rescheduled for Saturday, October 25th. At the Sound Arena in Hermosillo. Although due to these same visa inconveniences, the rival of Sonora world champion Camila Zamarano will now face the Japanese fighter Sana Hazuki. Former challenger to the world title, former world champion silver, and currently ranked number 6 by the World Boxing Council in replacement of Thai fighter Sothita Sithinchai. The postponement will be only for 1 week with the purpose of ensuring the realization of this great international boxing event in which La Magnifica Zamorano will carry out her first defense of her WBC title. All fans are advised that tickets purchased to date will remain valid for the new event date. Coliseo Promotions and Zen for Boxing thank you for the understanding and constant support of the Sonoran boxing fans. Next Saturday, October 25th, we will live a spectacular night of boxing where the talent of Sonora will shine, and it will be transmitted at a national level on open television on Boxeo Azteca. This will be Camila's first defense of her WBC interim title in the atomweight division. By all accounts, she is the mandatory challenger to reigning undisputed champion of Germany, Tina Ruprecht, though I suspect that a fight between them will not materialize anytime in the near future, because unless I'm mistaken, I think that Tina is with child. I haven't seen an official announcement that she's pregnant, but what we do know is that she recently got married, and I don't know, but that looks a lot like a baby bump. If my suspicions are accurate, and Tina is with child, that would bar her from competition for the foreseeable future, and thus a fight between her and Camila is not a possibility. Nor should it be. Camila Zamarano is very young, only 17 years old, sporting a professional record of 12 wins with no losses and no draws, 1 recorded knockout. I've my reservations about a fighter so young, so early in their career, holding any version of an interim title. At that age, a fighter should be fighting strictly in developmental fights, not holding an interim title that operates as a segue to fight for a full one. She's going to be fighting Sana Hazuki later on this month, who sports a professional record of 13 wins with 11 losses and 1 draw, 6 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 25 professional bouts, which is actually impressive, coming right off a loss to Iri Matsuda last month. And believe it or not, in spite of Sana having losses in the double digits, she's actually a better opponent choice than Sothita Sithinchai. The reason for it, Sana Hazuki may have lost a good number of fights, but she has been in there with some of the very best fighters anywhere at or around these weights. So that experience makes her a stiffer test for young Camila than Sothita would have been. Sothita hasn't been in there with anybody really. In this situation, Sana Hazuki is actually a better opponent choice that offers Camila more to learn from, more to have to work around. So it's a good thing. It's actually a good thing. And as stated, these are the kind of fights that Camila needs to be fighting in. Interim title and all, I don't think at 17 years old with just 12 professional fights, she's anywhere near ready for someone like Tina Ruprecht. My previous video, I talked about how Eddie Hearn should probably start investing in female fighters, since quite a few of them, the ones that he's had, have migrated over to MVP, but not just any female fighter, Mexican-American fighters. All his time in the United States and operating here, he has to know by now that Mexican-American boxing fans move the needle, and so it wouldn't hurt to add a female Mexican fighter to the Matchroom stable. Somebody fresh, somebody young, somebody that you can develop over time into a draw unto themselves. When Matchroom first started signing female fighters. It was largely experimental on the premise that they wanted to expand upon the success they were having with Katie. And that didn't really work out with some girls. I mean, some girls they signed were in their mid to late 30s. You're not going to get a lot of mileage out of fighters like that because there's already so much.
Whereas a Camila Zamarano and other young fighters like her would be ideal to beef up that stable. You've got more time and more opportunity to develop those fighters, not just into world-class fighters, but into marquee attractions. I believe that Matchroom needs to now refine their methods.
And it would be logical to pick up a fighter like Camila Zamarano, who's going to be boxing at the end of this month against Sana Hazuki, a late replacement that makes for a better fight and a better learning experience for Camila. I expect her to win.
Elsewhere in the world of boxing, veteran boxing scribe Stephen Kimothy reacted to some recent comments from Leonard Ellerby, the ones we talked about in my previous video, where Leonard, in so many words, said that Tank doesn't have to do shit. He doesn't have to fight this guy. He doesn't have to fight for legacy. He doesn't have to do anything.
No.
To which Steve Kim responded, he's right. Tank doesn't have to do anything, but I'll say it again. Fighters and their representatives do not care about the fans. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just the blunt truth.
I kind of disagree with Steve. I think there is something wrong with that in the sense that these are the guys who are always telling you that boxing is a business to justify their cowardly practices.
Guys like Leonard Ellerby,
who presume to know everything about boxing as a business when their purview of it is to treat it like a bank heist, and they in effect are the bandits, leaving nothing behind.
When that's your perspective on this industry, you end up leaving it in a worse state than when you first came into it.
There very much is something wrong with that. Leonard's justification for all the decisions that have been made on the behalf of Gervonta Davis is all the money that he now stands to make with Jake Paul.
To him, that's how the ends justify the means.
Yeah, maybe for that individual, but not the sport of boxing, not as a business, not as an industry. The money that he stands to make from this joke fight is no substitute for all the fights that he didn't have, and all the money that wasn't made, wasn't generated fighting Vasyl Lomachenko and Devin Haney and Teofimo and Shakur.
Money in this industry equates to interest. How much interest are your fights generating? And surely, more people were interested in seeing Gervonta fight Lomachenko than Leo Santa Cruz. More people were interested in seeing him fight Devin or Teofimo or Shakur than Isaac Cruz, than Mario Barrios, these nobodies.
So you tell yourself that, well, the Jake Paul fight is going to garner interest. A lot of people are going to watch that, and it's going to generate a lot of money. So how does that not make it right?
Well, that's just one fight, if you even want to call it that, on one night. Inconsequential to the sport of boxing and inconsequential to the industry of boxing because it's costed too much to get there. All the fights that Gervonta Davis didn't have are not now substituted by this because leading to it, the audience shrunk.
It's costed too much to get there, to get to this point. And if you want to know what I mean by it's costed too much, it costed them NBC. It costed them Fox. It costed them Showtime.
Protecting your fighters, your business practices, it's costed you a lot.
It's costed too much. All the interest you didn't generate on those platforms is not now justified by this because they're gone. The networks are gone. The network money is gone. And you didn't build anything. Think about the current state of affairs of Mayweather Promotions, who used to promote Gervonta Davis, and the CEO was Leonard Ellerby. In the end, what did they build and what did they leave behind? What is the state of Mayweather Promotions? What is the state of the Mayweather stable? Near as I can tell, everybody left, including Leonard.
They didn't build anything, and thus they didn't leave anything behind.
Because when your purview of the sport is to treat it like it's a bank heist and you're the bandit, well, bandits generally don't leave anything behind, do they? They just take.
But they don't build anything.
So going back to Steve Kim's reaction to Leonard's comments, I happen to think there is something wrong with that. There's something wrong about people in an industry not caring about their customers, because with no customers, there is no industry. Leonard Ellerby is one of these boxing as a business guys, ain't he? Well, what kind of business can you run with no customers? When you're basically telling them, we don't care what you want, and we don't care what you think, we're gonna make whatever we can make, take whatever we can take, and then we're out of here. Ugh. You're not a businessman. You're a bandit. Really a flunky who only rose to any semblance of power on the coattails of Floyd Mayweather. Except as soon as he stopped being relevant, so did you. When it was down to you and your aptitude to run a business, you ran it into the ground.
I'm lying? I'm exaggerating? Point me in the direction of the next Mayweather Promotions show. Point me in the direction of the broadcaster that has a broadcast deal with either Floyd Mayweather or Leonard Ellerbe. If you were as much a business guy as you pretend to be, you would have brokered something by now.
Floyd Mayweather and Leonard Ellerbe jointly were just cosplaying business guys, both under the thumb of Al Heyman.
Because of how wildly successful he's been.
This is the only industry I've ever seen where they seem to think the customers don't matter what they think and what they want. This is the only sport where they actively advocate for the best to not compete against the best, instead looking for the most lucrative alternative, the best substitute. It's tantamount to going to a restaurant, ordering off the menu, and ending up with something else. This is not what you were asking for.
But they're telling you that you should be happy with it. You should be happy about it.
All the while, every major network in America has walked away from boxing. You're telling me there's not something wrong with that? I think there is.
Oh, well, Paramount just picked up Zuffa Boxing.
Well, precisely. Paramount, who was already in boxing via Showtime and the PBC, would rather invest in a fledgling boxing promotion that's just getting off the ground than keep doing more of the same thing. Because the same thing, it ain't working.
There's definitely something wrong with that.
In men's heavyweight news, you may have heard earlier this week that Frankie Sanchez versus Daniel Dubois, IBF heavyweight final eliminator, has been ordered. And now the two are set to fight to get in line for the red belt. A former title holder has answered the call to face the one heavyweight largely avoided by his divisional peers. Boxing Scene has confirmed that former IBF heavyweight champion Daniel Dubois and Frank Sanchez will move forward with an ordered final elimination contest. The two sides have until October 22nd to reach a deal to avoid a purse bid hearing. The development has to serve as a sigh of relief for Cuba's Frankie Sanchez, 25-1 with 18 knockouts, who's literally spent all year watching multiple contenders pass on the opportunity. London's Dubois, 22-3 with 21 knockouts, entered the mix after unbeaten heavyweights Moses Atelma and Richard Torres Jr. both declined offers presented by the IBF to enter negotiations with Sanchez. The move comes on the heels of Dubois' defeat, knockout loss, to Alexander Usyk in their July 19th rematch at Wembley. Dubois entered the fight as the reigning IBF champion, but conceded the strap to Usyk, who became a two-time undisputed champion, with the win.
This is how you do it, Danny boy. You don't sit on a loss for very long. You don't let it fester. You don't let it just lie still in your mind. You get back up, you get back on the saddle, and you punch somebody in the face.
Dubois claimed the IBF interim title in an 8th-round stoppage of then-unbeaten Filip Hrgovic last June in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. He was subsequently upgraded when Usyk agreed that the full version of the belt should be at stake for Dubois' scheduled fight with countryman and former two-time unified champion Anthony Joshua last September. Their celebrated all-UK title fight saw Dubois demolish Anthony inside of 5 rounds to validate his title reign. A win over Sanchez will position Dubois for either a third shot at Usyk or a chance to become a two-time IBF champion should the Ukrainian southpaw vacate or retire, and most people are expecting him to.
It's not going to be a third fight between Usyk and Daniel. Most people are expecting Usyk to retire.
Sanchez has fought just once this year. A confidence-restoring second-round knockout this past February in Tijuana, Mexico. The bout came 9 months after his lone career defeat, a 7th-round stoppage to Agit Kabayel in their WBC interim title fight last May in Riyadh. Sanchez was previously due to next face Efe Ajagba in what would have been a rematch to their October 2021 meeting. Samson Lukowicz, proud founder of Samson Boxing LLC, claimed promotional rights to the contest, but Ajagba was disappointed with his end of the purse split and so opted to move on from the opportunity.
And I'm glad he did. Did you see their first fight? That was fucking boring.
Sanchez defeated Ajagba via unanimous decision in their October 2021 meeting between unbeaten heavyweights on the Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 3 undercard in Vegas. The win didn't bring him any closer to challenging for the main crown. Sanchez has fought just 7 times in the last 4 years that have transpired, including the above-mentioned defeat to Agit Caballel. Sanchez was then stuck in a holding pattern when the IBF ordered him to then face Croatia's Filip Prgovic. The matchup was put in play in April, but talks never advanced, and the matter was sent to a purse bid hearing. The session was twice delayed and cancelled outright. Once Prgovic instead agreed to next face David Adilier, whom he defeated in August in Riyadh, the decisions by the teams surrounding Italma and Torres to pass are part due to both having bouts planned for later in the year. Italma is due to headline a December 13th show, but is without an opponent for the occasion. Torres was tabbed to return on a top-rank undercard in November
For a show in San Luis Postal, Mexico.
I really don't mind this fight for Daniel Dubois, or the idea that he might see himself become a 2-time IBF champion, because the division is that much more interesting for it if Daniel has a belt, particularly the IBF belt, that title, who are very stringent and strict when it comes to their mandatories, and thus that title will be kept in circulation. Usyk is about to retire, and we all know it. We have to start thinking about a heavyweight division in his absence and how much more exciting it could be.
And it has been exciting throughout. But if Usyk is set to walk away, very much looks that way, we have to start thinking about things in his absence.
Alexander Usyk may have been able to beat Daniel Dubois not once but twice, but everybody's not Alexander Usyk, and Daniel Dubois is still one of the most formidable and exciting heavyweights in the heavyweight division today. And so, if you get him a belt, if you get him a title, it's that much more exciting.
And so he's about to fight Frankie Sanchez, a heavyweight who I'm not very fond of. His base style, Frankie is a pure boxer. He likes to stick and move and stay on the outside. He doesn't really engage. The way that Agit Caballel was able to give Frankie his first professional loss was by staying with him and staying on him, by applying pressure, as pure boxers seldom like working under pressure. They like to work at a slow, relaxed pace, 1 and 2 punches at a time from a safe distance. So Daniel cannot afford him that luxury. He's got to do what Agit did. He's got to stay with him, stay on him, throw punches in bunches, and wear him out.
In the heavyweight division, anybody can knock out anybody, so there's a chance that Frankie could hurt and thereby knock out Daniel, but the same is true in reverse. Daniel's not going to win a chess match with this guy. He's got to do what he does best. Go in for the kill. That's what he's got to do. This very much reads like a sink-or-swim fight for Daniel Dubois, who has 3 recorded losses on his CV so far, but it's not the end of the world. And if he can get back in the winner's bracket and line himself up for the red and gold belt, that sends out the right message, that even with 2 or 3 losses, it's not over. Previous years, the boxing community at large has become obsessed with unblemished, unbeaten records.
Where's the fun in that? Boxing was a lot more exciting when people didn't worry about those things, when people didn't worry about the O. Daniel doesn't have one.
He's got 3 losses where that O used to be, and he is still one of the more exciting fighters in the sport today, particularly in the heavyweight division. Not only do I think he can win, I want him to. He's not with Don Charles anymore. I believe that he's with Tony Sims now. So we'll see how that partnership works out. Can he make Daniel better? I hope he can.